Ladies and gentlemen, we now have confirmation that The Rock will not be returning to the DC Universe as Black Adam. It's almost as if the prophecy has been fulfilled and everything I've said about Black Adam from the very beginning ended up being true. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So it seems like every other day now it's being revealed that another established actor in the DCEU will not be returning under the new James Gunn-led regime. Ben Affleck appears to be all but done with the role. Gal Gadot has basically been confirmed not to return. Henry Cavill was pushed aside yet again in what was the biggest bonehead move of them all. Way to get in the good graces of DC fans, Mr. Gunn.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
And now it appears that you can add Black Adam to that list, as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has confirmed that after having a conversation with James Gunn himself, we can now pretty much definitively say that there will not be a Black Adam 2, there will not be a Black Adam vs. Superman movie, not that anybody really wanted it to begin with, because the only person who is really pushing for that was The Rock himself.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
Now his departure is going to be chalked up to the DCEU reboot that is currently happening. The Rock even kind of confirms that in the social media post that we're going to talk about here today. But in reality, I don't believe that there was ever going to be a Black Adam 2. No matter who is in charge, outside of WB naming The Rock himself the new head of DC. This movie was never going to happen because I say again that nobody actually gives a shit about Black Adam.
I don't give a fuck.
And the failure that movie is financially was basically the nail in the coffin to Rock's ego in this situation. And yes, I do believe this was all about The Rock's ego from the very beginning. He just so happened to come face to face with someone who has an even bigger ego than he does in James Gunn. James Gunn, who wants to rebuild the DCEU in his image. Basically my worst nightmare come true. But getting back to The Rock for a second, he thought he had a slam dunk with Black Adam. Because we are currently in this climate in Hollywood, where studios and producers think that every single character who has ever appeared in a comic book is somehow worthy of their own feature film. And I'm sorry, but nothing could be further from the truth.
You have no respect for logic.
The truth is that if Black Adam was the sure thing that The Rock thought it would be, they wouldn't have had to use a Henry Cavill cameo to try to sell people on going to see this movie. The Rock basically used Henry Cavill and Superman to try to further his own cause. And the result of that manipulation was just more failure. All it really accomplished was he got the hopes up of fans who will now never have any kind of follow-up to that moment.
Fuck me, right?
And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to be the one to give The Rock props for fighting for Henry Cavill because I think he did it for very selfish reasons. There was a report floating around the internet the other day about how WB offered The Rock a cameo in Shazam 2. As Black Adam, of course, and he declined that offer. Seems kind of strange considering Black Adam is a Shazam villain after all. And the character should have been introduced in a Shazam movie to begin with. But The Rock wasn't going to let that happen, because The Rock isn't playing second fiddle to anyone, even if the source material dictates that he should.
That makes sense.
So in the end, all this manufactured hype for this movie, and all these people calling me a hater and saying this movie looks amazing before it came out, none of that translated to this movie actually being a success. Because as I stated from the very beginning, the support for this movie felt very fake to me. In reality, most people didn't give a flying fuck about the character of Black Adam or his movie. But I guess some people just weren't ready for that conversation.
Stop being a bitch and come on.
Are you ready for that conversation now? Now that the movie has been officially released and resulted in The Rock being let go or leaving the studio altogether? Simply because at the end of the day, all they really did was create yet another nothing superhero movie. Forgettable in every sense of the word. In other words, raise your fucking standards. As I always say, stop making excuses for mediocrity. I don't know how many times I need to say this, and then to eventually be proven right before people wake the fuck up.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Now, I don't want to make this sound like I'm shitting all over The Rock, because that's not really my intention. I can appreciate The Rock's dedication to his fans, and what he meant to people, including myself, during his wrestling days. But as a movie star, meaning what he actually puts out on screen, I've never really been impressed with anything he's ever done.
Not impressed.
Because I feel like he's never really had that definitive role that would put him in the upper echelon of action heroes with the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. He could have been in that conversation, but he dropped the ball with his very poor choice of projects he was involved with. But I will say this. In his farewell post, he wrote this: "James Gunn and I connected, and Black Adam will not be in their first chapter of storytelling. However, DC and 7 Bucks have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC Multiverse chapters." To me, that sounds like he was told that they're not using Black Adam right now, but if they decide to some point down the road, we'll give you a call. And I can see The Rock trying to spin that as there is a chance that he will return as the character.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
But I don't really believe that James Gunn has any intention of ever using that character again. Why would he? That character has already proven to have a lukewarm reception, so do you really think that WB is in a hurry to revisit it? WB has taken a lot of losses in recent memory. Do you really think they want to openly welcome back yet another one? Not just that, but does anybody really want a James Gunn version of this character? I don't. The only good thing about Henry Cavill not being involved with the character of Superman any longer is that now James Gunn can't turn him into a joke that he inevitably would have.
Ha ha, very funny, motherfucker.
So the bottom line here is, I think The Rock, like Henry Cavill, or even Zack Snyder before that, or really anyone who has ever gone their separate ways away from WB, will be better off not being involved with the dysfunction that is this studio. Listen, The Rock will continue to prosper in Hollywood, I'm sure, but my advice to him would be to focus on characters and projects that there might actually be a demand for. Trying to force a character or story into the pop culture stratosphere was never going to work, because these things only happen organically or not at all. So all you could really do is cut your losses and realize that sometimes things just aren't meant to be.
Y'all be cool. Right on.